on B2. I just got to put myself out.
Oh,
See? Screwed
yeah,
me
there
again.
you go. Well, you've been putting yourself out for a while now, haven't you? You've been putting me out.
I don't know why I can't remember my audio settings, Jay. I mean, honestly,
I don't,
it's kind of
because you screw with them each and every time because nothing's ever good enough, man.
well.
There's a saying in IT, man. The saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But you got to fix it each and every time.
Well, here's the
You
thing:
know,
I have a setup that works for this, and then I
and
have
then
a
you have
setup
a
that
setup.
works for Tabletop Simulator, and then I have a setup that works with Zoom because in Zoom I have to
Write it
record my
down.
audio. Oh
Write it
man!
down.
Introduce yourself and say hello, my brother, my man, dude.
I did. Well, Uncle J Raz saying hello, and yeah, just like I did a little bit ago. But now we got the audio stuff all sorted out.
Fantastic.
So what's happening with you there, brother?
We're going to talk about that in half a second. But first, this is a podcast about role-playing games in general. And as usual, we will ramble incoherently in an attempt to sound like we know what we are talking about. We are an RPG entertainment podcast, and although you might occasionally be able to glimpse a nugget of truth or inspiration from our many years of gaming experience, we promise it's going to be completely unintentional. Also, please note that we stream this podcast live on Twitch and convert it to podcast audio format. You can check us out every second Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Right, Jay?
Yep, Pacific time, real people
right.
time, as some people call it.
I don't know if there's real people out here or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that means.
What are we talking about tonight, Rusty?
Well, first off, I want to say that disclaimer. When Gary says "we," he actually means me. I actually do 15 minutes of research as to the appearance of wanting to presume that we're professional anyway. But yeah, man, it looks like we're gonna talk about a few things that are going on in the RPG community. But the main topic that I wanted to talk about is the big game changer to me as far as RPGs go. So when I got back into the hobby, and that's like the skill challenges or like different skill tiered, leveling skill tiered challenges or obstacles that you go through. That seems to be the sort of one of the new mechanics that's come out. I'd say in the later years, maybe I'd say like in the 2000s, maybe in the in the 2010s when RPGs were in this new environment of RPG renaissance here. That's a lot of stuff that came out, and I just want to talk about that too. But Gary, you also got some other thoughts that you want to talk about. What did you want to hammer out tonight? Hello? Can't hear you.
Oh, man, that's because I got myself muted, Jay, so that you didn't have to listen to me sniffle, snort, cough, and fart. But I fixed it again. We are going to be talking. We'll have to do this. Is going to be a highly edited podcast, by the way. So that's right. We're going to be talking about the Stuff of Legends puppet show. We're going to talk about our thoughts on it. I don't know if you've looked at it, but I was listening to my buddies over at the 3T podcast this morning, and I really don't think they looked at it. So I got some things to say.
Right.
And rather than email them, because I know Harrison listens to my podcast, I'm just going to tell him what I think over here. And then he can respond on his podcast, and we can have a little go back and forth. Well, we call each other idiots, which will be cool.
All right.
And then we're going to talk about Savage Worlds Pathfinder and Dungeon Alchemist, a couple of things that are going on inside the RPG world. Oh, and we're going to talk about, you posted some stuff about the 3D things, but the link is in there somewhere, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I'll grab it and throw it in there.
Kind of down near the bottom, but it's a new thing that you got going on. The main topic is going to be RPG skill challenges, like you said. This is a topic that you wanted to bring up or talk about, so I'm going to let you take the reins on this bad boy, and then I'm just going to tell you how wrong you are all the time.
Well, no, it's not that I'm wrong. It's just you. Well, I might be wrong. That's true, but you don't know I'm wrong because you haven't done the research.
Because I don't know either.
Yeah, you don't know,
man. So
all we're doing pretty much. Well, let me say this. All we're pretty much doing is trying to call each other out on our bullshit. Right. You shouldn't.
We're good at that.
Nobody can do that, but we can call each other out on our bullshit. It's like nobody else can make fun of your mom.
That's right. That's right. So here's the thing, Jay. Speaking of which, calling you out in your bullshit, you weren't here last 2 weeks ago. I had to get that
Yeah, I had to work.
that fake
Yeah,
podcaster guy,
I
right?
saw that you had to get cheap Canadian labor to
Right.
replace me. You had to get a scab.
Wow.
How'd that go? I couldn't
Yeah.
understand a damn word you guys were saying. So I listened to the podcast, right? And I couldn't understand. It's like when two Canadians talk to each other, I can't understand it. You know, I can't
uh,
understand it.
I understood him perfectly
No,
fine the
I just
entire way, all the way through it. So, but I could see that as a thing. Um, being that you
no.
weren't
It's I'm
here,
just kidding. No, Eric's funny, man. He just kills me. Like Eric's like the most low key dude ever, and just like he's so nonchalant, and he'll rip you without even like raising eyebrows. Yeah, you suck.
yep,
What are
he's a
you
salty.
doing? So
He's getting salty in his old age.
what's funny though is like he can insult you, and his blood pressure doesn't go over like 48. You know, or his pulse doesn't go over 48.
It's all that
Yeah, he's just so
nicotine
calm.
and tobacco tar and stuff. Keeps him fresh.
That's,
He's never
that's
going to die
I
of
guess.
any. Well, he might get some lung cancer, but I don't think anything else can penetrate him. It goes into his lungs, and all the tar and nicotine kills it.
No, his lungs are too fied to let anything happen to. Like he's just pretty much got a nice salt coating on everything, and that's going to preserve him and keep him well and nice and salty, into like the next century probably.
Nice. So yeah. So anyways, jackass, you weren't here a couple of weeks ago, and you missed the show opener with the new graphics. So did you? Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
you watched it on Twitch. What do you think of the new setup now that we're all fancy with our cool new look?
No, dude. I mean, look at us, man. We're all highfalutin now, as my grandma used to say. We're all fancy and stuff. This almost looks like a professional sort of getup. Like, what are
Right.
you doing here, man? We're starting to lose our lo-fi cred.
Right.
You know,
I think that's exactly it.
you
So
never. I mean, all I'm saying is we never you never seen a setup like this from some of the other podcasters out there. You know,
I wonder if my Murder
some of the
Hobo
other
show is
podcasters all around. They don't.
pumping out reverse style. Right, we got a pro look, Brad. We got a pro look. I want to give a shout out to Design J Studio for the great work. One of the cool things that we got is we're going to do this. I can kick this out, and then side by side, if you're looking on the Twitch channel for us, Jay, look at this cool thing I got going on here. So I looked at a bunch of different people. Oh, I don't know why that popped up, but I ordered some artwork from a few different people throughout what I was looking for, kind of a thing. I was looking for some oranges and browns, and I was looking for a guy that looks like a homeless guy with an axe and stuff like that. I got a pirate kind of a deal, but I love 50 Fathoms, so I'm cool with it. And you wouldn't believe the thing that I found that I wanted to share. I mean, if you're looking at streaming on Twitch and you want to get stuff done and you don't want to, pay high prices for a professional artist, over here on my window in the Twitch stream, you can see that I went to Fiverr. I found this person called Design J Studios, and I think I paid for the premium package, which you'll see is $46 Canadian. Here's my deal that she gave me. I got all the screens and stuff like that, which was pretty sweet. All of the little about buttons and whatnot, all with orange and browns and stuff. She made me the mascot. I got all of the little bits and pieces that we need to sort of throw the piece together, and then I can use GIMP well enough that I sort of mashed it into what we got here, which is kind of sweet. So yeah, it was the best part about it. When I found her on Fiverr, it was about $50. Like I said, it made me a complete package to overhaul the show. It took 3 days. That's it, 3 days. So I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe I'm going to get her to hit me up, and we'll do a St. Patty's theme, something like that. I don't know when St. Patrick's Day is, but I know that it involves drinking green beer, and I'm in for that.
Yeah, March 17th every year.
Right. So there you go.
March 17th.
I
Yep.
got
So you can get
50
that
bucks
one.
Right, I got $50 to throw away all day on a green theme.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, hey man. Oh, it's too bad it's Valentine's Day coming up pretty soon. I could have got a little hearty kind of lovey theme for us.
Yeah, we could have did that. Yeah, I guess what Valentine's Day is this Sunday. So yeah, we could have.
Yeah.
You could have. Have had us both in like little hearts or whatever.
Sorry, man.
Well,
I feel
drop
like
the
I'll let
ball,
you
but
down.
that's all right though. That's all right though. This is what happens when I'm not. I have to get involved in work, and I can't throw out these gold ideas, these golden friggin' ideas to help out. But that's all right though. We can look for the future. Can't worry about the past. That's all we can do is just move on ahead.
So, this is true. If I didn't have you here, this show would fall apart. I swear to God, I'd have Lamoureux on all the time. People would be sending me hate mail.
Right, and you'd have to do all the work because Lamoureux would just come in and be just like, "Yeah, this sucks."
Do you have a good French impersonation voice for Lamoureux? I mean, we got a sweet Jamie Pearson. Do we have a Lamoureux?
Lamoureux, like you can't even tell he's like French Canadian unless you start getting him into it. But no, like Eric all riled up is all, I am the Eric, the typical French accent. Oui, oui,
wow.
Croissant baguette.
Wow.
Croissant baguette. But
Croissant baguette.
Eric though in real life though is right. Eric though in real life, I'm just sort of like this. And then next thing you know, you get all sleepy because he's so sedate and nothing bothers him.
Oh yeah. Man, you're killing poor Eric. Back to what I was saying. This Design J Studio stuff is pretty sweet, man. She does some nice work. I saw this work that she did. I'm like, that's actually really cool looking. I was kind of hoping I could get something along these lines, and then check it out. She put me up there. She put my stuff up there. 3 days to get the package done. The only change I requested was the mascot. I forgot what the change was. I asked her to change a thing. I don't know if she put the eye patch on or something like that, but that was the one change that I had her do. And the colors were bang on. So yeah, it was pretty sweet. I think I might have made him look meaner, but I don't remember. It was a small change. 3 days, $50 on Fiverr. Design J Studio. Freaking fantastic, man. Like, that is dirt cheap.
I give that a chef's kiss, man. It's looking good. Beautiful.
It is very cool. I'm going to close that window down, and now it's a picture of us looking at us. I'm going to close that window down because I don't need to see it either. And,
now you're going to start getting into the fourth dimension and stuff.
Right. I'm going to start breaking down some barriers. Also, I got some stuff, and I should have taken pictures of it, but I didn't think about it. Our friends Corey, the Judds, Corey and Jen Judd, we play with them. I play with Corey on Sundays in my ICRPG game. If you're in the mood for some cool gaming accessories, our friends over at Pow Sewing just delivered me 2 roll-up bags that I ordered as gifts for my friends over at Nerd Havens in Abbotsford. I should have taken pictures of them, but this is essentially what I got. It's the same kind of a thing. Here's a picture of my custom Murder Hobo Show bags that I ordered for us. They sent me 2. One of them is black. It's got the Nerd Haven logo on it, and then the other one was for Rocco's Diner, which is actually the diner they filmed the first season of Riverdale at.
Gotcha.
So, she owns that. Deb owns that, and they both together own Nerd Haven. I don't know what their deal is with Nerd Haven, but they have both businesses. And so, yeah, I got them to make a roll-up. It's pretty sweet. So this deal's got the zipper with the dice. There's a pocket. You can slide stuff under here. It holds all your pens, and I got 2 spots for card decks because I like to play Savage Worlds, even though I haven't played it in a year, and I just admitted to that on the last Wild Eye podcast. But I'm like, I usually use 2 decks when I do initiative, right? So if a Joker lands on the table, I just pull out the next deck, have a player pick the thing up, and they're dealing with the Nick cards. I'll just pull out my other shuffle deck, and away we go. And I just do this sort of loop-de-loop with the players and stuff. So I have room for 2 decks. There's a top flap so the cards won't fall out. You flap it down over the cards, and then you just roll it up, and you're good to go. And then you can see, well, because you have it, so you don't actually have to see it. But they also came for $40. I got, I don't know what the price is. I might have got a deal because I'm Superstar Special, right?
Yeah, the VIP discount.
Right. So I'm not sure what the price is on it, what they're charging the regular customers, but the dice tray is pretty cool. You just unpop the buttons and stuff like that, and it lays flat. Fold it right in there, and I got a little custom dice bag, 3 pieces.
Yep.
So they made the same thing with the Nerd Haven designs on it, which was pretty awesome.
No, that was, yeah, you sent that to me a while back, and I've been really happy with it. In fact, well, it'd be different. It's really nice to, when everything kind of opens up again, to have something like that too. And also, it's funny you mentioned the extra card decks and too, because now with if you got Savage Worlds, if you got the Essentials kit, and everything. It's got all those the power cards, and it's got the status cards, and that's always handy, man. And like you can't anything that you can help to anything that you use to remind people of whether or not you're shaken and distracted, vulnerable, entangled, bound, all of that good stuff. It's always helpful to have all the stuff.
Yeah, you know what else I really like too is the spell cards, like you're saying. The spell cards are freaking awesome. They got everything written on them. Do you know that I haven't even taken the plastic off my Savage Worlds box set because I play on Tabletop Simulator? I got all the digital art, and I could just put the card games, the card deck inside the game, which is pretty cool.
Yep. No, I got as soon as I got that sumbitch, I cracked it open because I knew I was going to use it.
You're like, I'm all over it.
Yeah, I do more in-person gaming anyway, man. That's sort of my jam too.
You got yourself a nice little present over the last little while there, hey bud.
Yeah, I sure did, man. I decided I was going to be. I decided it's one thing that the hobby. It's one thing to be sort of like a passive sort of participant where you just buy the stuff and you run the games and everything. And I started really thinking, see, like you can sit down and write, but everybody, there's a lot of people that are trying to like do a lot of writing in the hobby, and I'm not saying that that's not going to happen. That I wouldn't do that down the road because I've done it before. But like I decided I wanted to get something a little more hands-on, and so I ended up buying a couple 3D printers. And so now I got the filament one set up right over here on my desk, and I've been getting it all set up. And I got a resin one, but I'm going to go ahead and set that whole operation up over at my my sister's house because she's got a bigger garage and whatnot over here. But I got my Ender 3 Pro set up over here. I got it all fine-tuned and calibrated. Printed off some calibration cubes. In fact, let me do this right here. Print it off. I'll print off the little this little squiggly bitch right here, and that you can see how ugly that is. How that printed off. But these other ones, man, ended up turning out pretty awesome. And also here's my little baby. This is the first thing. This is I'm so proud of him. I call him Gary. That's my little skeleton that popped out.
Oh man, I'm honored that you named your first child after me.
Oh, you're welcome. I was going to. I mean, how could I not? But and also to full disclosure, this will go to show you like watch the videos and see what's going on before you actually start doing it. Because as soon as I went to go make a test of it or just a test print run, the little Z stop that's the little limiter that'll keep the keep the nozzle and everything, or keeps the extruder from going all the way down and scratching your bed. Well, it kept on falling off my machine, and I didn't realize it at the time. And so when I went to go print it out, the extruder and that's the thing that spits all the filament out, went all the way into the bed and scratched. I went, and I thought, oh shit, I was gonna have to replace the whole thing. But it turns out all it did was just scratch the like the magnetic like little layer on there. And so all I had to do on $12, I got another one from Amazon, peeled the old scratched off junk there, got the new one on there. Bing, bang, boom, works like a damn charm.
So overall, it was pretty easy to set up. And the Ender 3D printer is pretty cheap, isn't it? $150-$160?
It's about $250. This one I got. Now, there's an Ender 3 like version 2 that I didn't realize at the time, and I think that's a little bit more. I think that's about $280. That's about $280 American. And then if I think about it, that's the one I probably should have got, but I just remember hearing Eric talk that he said he got the Ender 3, and so I just ended up getting the Ender 3 Pro. But I should have probably got the version 2. But this one I like quite a bit. If I end up getting another one, like bringing that one over to my sister's house, like take this one over to my sister's house, and then I'll get me another Ender 3 version 2. But I think the end game though is eventually my sister's kids have all done design work, and I think they're wanting to get their hands on it. They want to start designing dice, and they want to start designing figures and doing a lot of 3D modeling. I'm like, well, if we're gonna do that, let's friggin' print the shit out. So
yeah, for sure, start your own little Etsy shop.
That's exactly the plan. Razzmatazz Gaming is what we're calling it so far.
I was just thinking that the icon or your mascot could be a toilet bowl filled with poop, and then you can actually print them out.
How about it's dice coming out, or just dice coming out, or like a toilet bowl with dice spilling out,
just filling
like
out
a big 20. Yeah, that's not bad.
There we go. This will show up. I can't really zoom in because it'll kind of screw up where my camera picks it up. But this was 3D printed for the Wild Die podcast.
Yeah, if you were a patron, you ended up. In fact, I got mine over here too. I think feel like getting up and reaching it, but yeah, if you're a patron of Wild Die, you got it.
Yeah, Vay, our friend over at
Yeah.
Zovius Maps, she's got some skills with the 3D stuff. She's a little talented with that,
Yeah.
and she designed it, and then Lamoureux printed a bunch off, and yeah, so I got my conviction token, the John Steve special. I keep it
Yep.
close because it reminds me of John Steve, and I like to put it on my
Yeah.
face a little bit.
I'm going to drill a hole through mine and run a chain through it, so it'll be an amulet. Keep it around my
Right.
neck to ward off. And so, like, that's my conviction token. So if anybody screws around with me, that I'll tell them I get an extra D6 when I whoop that ass, motherfucker. That's what that's what I'm going to
Yowza. Oh man. Well, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. Your Savage or your Star Wars game's going well. Your Genesis game.
say. Yeah, man, it's actually going really well. But here's the thing, though. We're the guys are about to become Jedi, or they're learning how to do that, and they're right now they just got their kyber crystals. They had to go through like a little series. They found a cave, and like the kyber crystal in Star Wars lore, the kyber crystal calls out to you. And so what they had to do is they had to like go through a moment where they fell prey to their emotional weaknesses. Like my wife, her like emotional strength is like curiosity, but her weakness is like obsession. And so I had her like she saw like a big room full of books and just all this Jedi knowledge, and she went there and just started reading all of it. But then she forgot all of her party members, and as she was reading the book, she could hear them. She could hear the voices getting older as they cried out for her and everything. She realized, wow, I should maybe use this knowledge to help people. And then when she did that, that's when the kyber crystal appeared to her, and she chose a nice little, like, really really light pink one. So I thought that was cool. So. You had to roll a bunch of like skill tests, but yeah, each and every one of us, like the one player who was who like his emotional weakness was like disarray, like he couldn't decide on anything, like he had too many caves to like explore, and then finally once he realized if he just focused on one of them, he'd make it through, and he found his crystal. Sort of like that, stuff like that where you had to play on the whole Jedi trope. So you have to face the dark side before you can become light. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Is the Genesis systems is what you're playing it in? You're still digging that, the narrative dice? Yeah,
actually, the thing about it, like what I really get a kick out of is there's things that a lot of people say, like I see this a lot of too, and a lot of people talk about this with Powered by the Apocalypse in these narrative games where they're like, I just kind of stumble on something to do, like I stumble on to present a move, or I stumble on something to add narratively. But like in all of these books and all of the source books, they tell you exactly, all right, if you get like three threat, this is what should happen. If you get 3 advantages, this is what should happen. Instead of if you get 2 triumphs and 2 disadvantages, it flat out tells you what it is. So you don't really have to stumble for anything narratively. The book will, guide you along, and then later on, you can make those decisions for yourself once you get good at it. So
yeah,
I don't mind leaning on the book, bro. I am.
The one thing I haven't played it. It's not that I'm anti-Genesis or any of that kind of stuff, but I haven't played it. The narrative dice. The one thing that I like about them, or that I found out from playing ICRPG, I really like the fact that immediately whether you succeed. You don't have to ask somebody,
right.
which takes a step out, which makes the narration go a little bit faster. I'm assuming after a while you get good at the dice and you can figure out what cancels what. Before you know it, you're done.
Yep.
They have some pretty sweet apps and stuff like that, so you can just use an application and it'll tell you what you have to, what you succeed or all that kind of stuff, right? So, but yeah, I really like that mechanic where when you roll the dice, you immediately know whether or not you've succeeded or passed your attempt, and you can it lets the players narrate it, or at least.
Yep.
Because old school D&D, like from what I'm used to and what I'm trying to train myself out of, is when players are doing a thing and they roll the dice to pass or fail, I narrate the pass or fail. Like if you're going to walk up, and something I've sort of released myself from in ICRPG is I let my players just describe what happens after they attack, even if they do, and sometimes they'll take advantage of the situation because they're players, but it's like when they swing an attack, if they say things like, "Oh, I'm going to chop one of his arms off," or "I chop his head in half," and I'm like, "Okay, but you haven't done enough hit points to kill him, so sure, you split his head down the middle. but he's not dead. Maybe maybe on his next attack, I'll do something like he's still alive for a couple of seconds. You know what I mean? He hasn't quite figured out that his head's. So I'm still attacking you, but he might die on that round. But yeah, that's what I mean. Sometimes they take advantage of the situation and they describe that how they killed him, and I'm like, you know, you didn't kill him. You're just being a jerk, right?
Yeah.
All right. That's cool, man. That's awesome. I can't wait for you to print me off some terrain and stuff like that. Send it up here. I'm looking forward to my little toilet bowl with exploding dice coming out of it.
That's exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get the Murder Hobo special. But yeah, that's eventually that's the plan. Is, you know, I'm just learning how to figure out how to print stuff, but eventually it's the design stuff. That's what I want to get into, or at least, you know, turf that out to my sister's kids and let them do that. And also too, like, it doesn't. There's some programs that I've been looking at, like Tinkercad, that it doesn't seem that hard to do, where you can go in and actually make the stuff and use that to start off with. So there you go.
Cool. All right, on with the show. I think I got to press another button over here, Jay. It's one of these three.
Yep.
It's probably going to echo. All right, uncheck those bad boys. So, I'm going to start this bad boy off by talking about the stuff of legends. This show's been getting some serious slack from a lot of people. Mostly Twitter blew up because of the big-breasted dragonborn barbarian lady. And then those idiots found out that it was actually designed after the woman that's playing it. I'm not sure what her name is, but she's well endowed. She's got some big boobs, and she's... Anyways... have you watched it at all? Have you seen that new show, Stuff of Legends?
Oh, no, man. No, I don't watch.
Hang tight. So this is a D&D adventure wherein the players at the table are represented by puppets. So as the players roleplay certain scenes, it'll cut to the puppets, and you'll actually see the puppets doing all the actions. They're portrayed doing things like he's walking along a high wire, and you see the puppet walking along the high wire, kind of a thing. So it makes for a funny and interesting watch. I really like it, and I'm gonna, I've watched both episodes. There was another one I think that dropped yesterday or something like that. I like it for a couple of reasons. A lot of people, when they show you their games that they're playing and stuff like that, you basically will see, the 5 windows of the people talking, the DM, and then behind that is just usually a static map, which will be like Fantasy Grounds or whatever it is they're playing in, or they'll drop images and stuff. But generally, what I see when people use, Twitch to stream their games is a very static screen. There's not a lot going on. There isn't a lot of movement. And you're just most of the time I just fall asleep because I'm staring at the wall just listening to people, right? Good podcasts with good stories or good streams with good stories, I'll take the audio out and listen to them as a podcast. But that's why this appeals to me. There's actually, it shows the people sitting at the table and the game master. It shows them rolling dice, and it goes back and forth between them and the puppets. It's like watching a TV show where, as they narrate, they go into puppet land and they act it out. So I was listening to the 3T RPGs podcast, my buddy Harrison and Nick Lamslice, and man, what is the Filipino guy's name again? Who cares?
James.
I know it's James. I'm just joshing. I was going to say the Filipino guy that came flying across my table when I was trying to do my thing. But anyway, so I was listening to those guys at the 3T RPG podcast this morning, and they were talking about the show. And I know they listen, so rather than write them an email, I'm just going to talk shit about them on my podcast because I know that they'll listen. This will be some filler for us. They mentioned that the podcast was for children and that it was a great way for getting kids into RPGs. And I thought to myself, clearly you haven't watched it because it's not for kids. Just because there's puppets in it doesn't mean it's for kids. Like, if you sat down and watched it all, you would not have said a thing. So I'm a little worried, or not worried, but I'm like, they obviously didn't see what was going on. So this content is it's not just adult oriented. You know how sometimes you'll see things where they'll put in all these adult jokes, but it's actually like a kids TV show,
innuendo. Yeah, that's right? Just adult innuendo.
Right? There's just that kind of stuff in it. But in this, there's like just blatant stuff that they would have never just written it for kids. And I've got a couple examples. So the Dragonborn barbarian's name is Areolus, Coriolis or something like that. And Areola is like the outside part of a nipple, right? So
Mm-hmm.
she's got huge boobs. Her whole character is breast oriented for some reason. But it was her design. She helped design the puppet and stuff like that. And if that's what she wants to do, have at her, man. I'm not here to boob shame. I love boobs. Sign me up all day long. So that is kind of an innuendo. Sure, some of the kids won't get it. They'll just see it as a character's name, so it's really not that much of a big deal, right? She calls herself a big dragonborn bitch, is one of the things that she says about herself, and that's not very kid friendly either. But again, it's the kind of thing that, who knows, maybe in this day and age it'll slide by. She mentions that she's on a perpetual period. In fact, she associates her being her going into barbarian rage with, she's like, oh, it's because I'm on a perpetual period kind of a thing. So that's just one of the characters, right? There's 4 of them.
Now hold on just a second, Gary. Who says this is being marketed for kids? I mean, is it just the 3T guys just saying like, oh, kids might want to watch this? And you're just saying like, no, this is not for kids at all.
Yeah.
And you're just like, and they're not even totally marketing this for kids at all. So okay, no. All right, carry on. I'm just carry on.
Okay, so we're on the same page. So one of the other characters is a Kuatoa. He's a Kuatoa or a Kuatoa. He's a little fish man, right? His name is Slippery Richardson, and he introduces himself as such, and then immediately says his name is Slippery Dick. Right, Slippy Dick. There's a couple of minutes it comes in where one of the PCs tries to make the puppet say his name again. He's like, "What did you say your name was? I didn't quite catch that." Trying to get the guy to say my name is Slippy Dick. So again, that's innuendo. Maybe the kids might not get it, but that's the other guy that plays there is this Hatchet Hand guy, whatchamacallit, Hatchet Hand the pirate. Excuse me. So he tells a story about how he lost his hand. He was doing a thing, he was fishing or doing something, I can't remember exactly how the story goes, and something came up and bit his hand off. But then he continues on saying that, it's not as bad as my first mate. He was relieving himself overboard, essentially saying that his first mate got his dick bit off. So, again, not very, maybe, again, you might want to slide that off as innuendo. But this is where we cut to the meat and potatoes, where this is not a kid's show. Slippy, when he's describing himself, he's like, I got 2 daggers I stole from the market Best Buy kind of a thing. I'm going to do a thing over here while I'm doing this. We're going to go back to the main page, and I should have done this to begin with. Where's my Muppets picture? Because I'll actually show you a picture. Here's the D&D with Muppets header. So we'll zoom in on this one. Now, it doesn't really show, if you're looking at the Twitch stream, it doesn't really show all of the Muppets, but it is like, I think it's legitimately backed by D&D. So here's a picture of the Muppets with the boobs, and you can see in the Twitch stream how big they are. Slippy Dick is the little Sahagwin guy, the fish dude, and Slippy calls his short bow his ass fucker. And then he goes on to say and the reason he calls it that is because anyone that gets shot by it is fucked. And then he says, and I'll tell you where, implying that he shoots them in the ass. And they bleep out all of those words. And then there's another part where Slippy gets naked and jumps on a goblin starfish style, like buck-ass naked. And then he's like, he says something along the lines of, the goblin didn't even have time to say, oh shit. So you can tell that it's like, we're 20 minutes into the first episode when all of this happens, and you can plainly see it's not meant for children. It's just a puppet gimmick, maybe to teach new people how to play D&D. There's also a part in it where they comment about stuffing scrolls up the NPC's ass. Because this one, the mage, Majorella, she's over on the far side there. Magella is her name. She has a backpack with scrolls in it, and she pulls it out, and they do this cool gimmick where they roll a d20, and that's the spell that they cast, which is kind of cool because it sort of puts the DM on his toes. I like that idea. She goes to pull a scroll out of the back, and one of the other guys like, yeah, we're going to shove it up his ass. I'm like, ooh, okay. So, my only point is, the only reason I was bringing it up is because it is definitely not a kid's show. Not by any stretch of the imagination. There is some harsh swear bleeping and stuff like that. They talk about some really weird things. There's a lot of sexual innuendo going on. It is, they use, Harrison was right about one thing, too. If you watch it, Jay, it's actually kind of cool. I'm surprised that they sort of missed that part because this, like Harrison said, is right up his alley. They use a very loosey-goosey, kind of fast and fun way of rolling the dice. They don't really stick to the guidelines. They're like, they're just like, give me a roll for this, and it's kind of fast and it's kind of fun to watch. It's not really too strict, and it sort of makes the story flow. It's really good. Harrison nailed a few points about it. It's a fun show. It's interesting to watch, and in fact, if you're gonna broadcast your RPG game, this is the way I think you should do it, or do like I do and use Tabletop Simulator, because right.
And then have it crash 3 hours in. Yeah.
Screw your audio up.
Right.
But yeah, not very kid friendly. You've got a dragonborn with massive cans, which is, who cares, man? It's a puppet. Like, all of a sudden, what, we should start smashing on any woman that has big boobs? We're going to boob shame people? It's kind of silly. They all design their own puppets and stuff like that, and they it's good. You should watch it. I highly recommend it. But yeah, it is definitely not for kids, Harrison. Not at all. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because it's a long email for me to write, and it's show filler for us. So moving on to the next part, we're going to talk about Savage Pathfinder and Dungeon Alchemist, and you had something else that you wanted to throw in there. I'm not 100% sure what it is. Let's see. So this section is 2 things that are cool that I'm not going to be getting. That's what I wrote down here. So over the last little while, I was pretty excited for Savage Pathfinder. It's going to be nice that we get a fantasy game to play inside of Savage Worlds. You know what I mean? Pathfinder's got great lore, cool looking art. It's been around for a while. There's some history and stuff like that. And for me, Forgotten Realms is really cool for that reason too, because it's like it's established, right? But the Savage Pathfinder, it's kicking ass and taking names. It's about 415,000 Canadian seashells, I think, something like that. So it's pretty good. But I decided that I'm not going to back this project, even though I was thinking about doing it, even at the PDF level. Now, I think it's a good project, but I don't want to play Pathfinder. I feel that this is just a crossbeat, might be more Pathfinder than Savage Worlds when it comes to its mechanics. Savage Worlds is pretty streamlined, and I feel that they're just adding clunk to make it more Pathfinder so they can find some kind of happy medium, but I don't find there's anything wrong with Savage Worlds. This would have been cool if they would have just brought the lore in and we played it Savage Worlds style, rather than bring in all of this other stuff. So I'm pretty disappointed in the stretch goals for this project. I'm not a guy that thinks you should get shit for free from small companies. That's not sort of my bag. But in this case, this is sort of the exception to the rule, because what I'm thinking that you should get for free is something that really wouldn't cost them any money, even though Lamoureux's going to scream, because we got in an argument about this kind of thing. We had a discussion. So the VTT for Fantasy Grounds in Foundry and Roll20 should be free in the spirit of Kickstarter, right? I know that PEG uses Kickstarter so that they can have an accurate assessment of how many copies of a thing they need, so they don't have to fill their warehouse up with 20,000 books and 5,000 sell. That's why they use Kickstarter, right? It's a brilliant idea. It's an excellent strategy, and it's a great platform for them to get their stuff out. But the spirit of Kickstarter, for me, has always been, and Fantasy Grounds Unity did a great job of this, when they offered their stuff, you could get it at a reduced price. But then I got like $110 worth of free stuff. Now that's $110 that Fantasy Grounds didn't take off the table, kind of a thing. I'll explain what I mean about that in a half a second here. But the reality is that there was $110 worth of stuff that they threw in because I backed the Kickstarter. And I think that's how Kickstarter should be done. Like, you're trying to incentivize me, and I now know about 12 other people that are not paying or buying for Savage Pathfinder, which is all the group that we hang out with, not because of that, but just because of just because of different things. But I think that if you throw that in, it's a great incentive. So I'm going to get back to reading my little deal. So the VTT for Fantasy Grounds, Foundry, and Roll20 should be free in the spirit of Kickstarter. You spend $300 in the Rune Lord package, which is the most expensive one that you can buy, right? And then one of the stretch goals is here. You can spend another $30 and buy the VTT edition. Like, that's garbage to me. You're spending so much money on this stuff already. If you buy this at the print level, GM or Ultimate, you're spending $100 to $200. Like, this is not a cheap Kickstarter by any means. And I know there's a lot of hands in the pot, right? They're going to make this. They're going to make these for the VTTs anyways. So PEG or Smiteworks or whoever is going to obviously pay some guy probably about a month's wage, maybe $5,000 to get into the to build it for the VTT, and then after that, there's no extra cost to copy and paste more of these. So they can sell copies to the people that don't back it and make money, because maybe there's people that don't pay attention to Kickstarter and stuff like that. Maybe they're on Fantasy Grounds. They're like, hey, I want to try this. But anyways, I'm starting to ramble about this. So, like I said, I don't feel. I feel that we should get it for free. It would be, and the reason is because it's incentive. Like, you're basically one of your stretch goals is to sell me more stuff, and I just think that's sort of lame sauce. You got thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do. Like, I was gonna back this initially too, but honestly, I started looking at the tiers, and there weren't really any tiers that really appealed to me. You know, there wasn't anything that was just like straight up PDF or anything like that. And I think there was one that I was going to back, like the GN bundle, but I wasn't even crazy about that too. I wasn't happy with the way a lot of it was structured. It just seemed like it was just everything was sort of like driven towards that $300 like package. Like, this is the one you need to get. Everything else, can piss off. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Did you get that impression?
Yeah.
That's kind of the impression that I got. That's the impression. It was like, okay, we'll give you this one, but no, this is the one you want. You want to spend the $300. You're going to get the Rise of the Rune Lords box set. It's going to come with the dragons. It's going to come with all this. But yeah, I don't need all that stuff, man. Like, here's the thing. I played Pathfinder from what, 2000? I think when it started coming out, like 2011, 2012. For like 5 years, that was pretty much my game of choice for like a long time. Pathfinder and Starfinder. I played that for years, and then I started thinking about it too. I'm like, I got into Savage Worlds to get away from Pathfinder, to get away from Starfinder. There's nothing wrong with the lore, and like I said, I'm not a Dungeons and Dragons guy. Like, so Forgotten Realms, I know a little bit about it, but I guess Galarian is the same place. In a lot of senses, Galarian is just Paizo's version of Forgotten Realms.
Yep. Fair
so
enough.
Yeah, and so I guess it's cool that we have we got this cross-pollinated fantasy fantasy game that we can play in Savage Worlds. But like me, I'm not, like, I've kind of moved away from fantasy, and I've kind of moved away from a lot of stuff. I'm more focused on what Pinnacle's going to do this year in terms of the companions. That's what I want to see. Everything else is kind of filler to me. Everything else is like, yeah, that's cute. I want the companions. You guys, like, Suede has been out, or Adventure. I make it a point to say Adventure Edition instead of Suede. Adventure Edition has been out for going on like close to 3 years now. It was 3 years ago when Flash Gordon came out and introduced those new rules. So we need to have where are the companions at, man.
Hopefully they'll be here this year.
I think they're going to. Yeah, I think they're going to kickstart it this year. I'm pretty sure of it, because I would love to see. Like, honestly, dude, like as much as I like Star Wars, and as much as we're having fun with this, I'm always thinking about that game. The game that I want to run later on. And I know when I get when the companions come out, it's going to be on. And especially, like, I have my eye on ETU right now. But when that horror companion comes out, and then when the superpowers companion comes out, Daddy wants to run Necessary Evil in space, because that's where it's going to go. It's going to go cosmic. So I'm excited about that.
Nice. Lamoureux's a smart guy. He knows a lot of stuff.
Yep.
He said things along the lines of, you've got Smiteworks. Smiteworks is the company that's going to make it. It's not going to be PEG, right? They're going to take all the information, stuff like this, and right. They'll be the ones that puts it on their deal, and basically they have to like sign off and say they're giving the material to Smiteworks to do whatever, because they won't have say on when it goes on sale or all that kind of stuff. But my point is the art of the deal, bud. If you can make a deal to say whatever you want. PEG's got all the power here. They could say, we're not giving you any of it. The other thing is, there's only like 2,100 people that have backed the project at $30 a pop. That's $60,000. Now, that's also implying that everybody is going to use it, because you're going to have people that aren't going to play it on Fantasy Grounds or Foundry or Roll20. Like, it's going to be split up. The pot's going to be split 3 ways between those companies. It's also going to be split between all of the companies that have their hands in the cookie jar trying to get their, their nickels and dimes. But here's my counter to that idea. Peg could roll in there with Pathfinder and say, yeah, anybody that backs this, because I guarantee you I would back it if they were giving it away for free, because that's where I would play it. I would play it on Fantasy Grounds if it was there. That's not only going to bring people to the fold, but it's also going to bring people to Foundry and stuff like that. So I think Smiteworks can show up, or Peg can show up and just say, we're making this deal. We're gonna give this away to everybody that backs it, whether you like it or not. Smiteworks, suck it. That's the deal we want to make, right?
Yeah.
Peg has that kind of power that they could walk in there and say, here's what we want to do. You can sell it however you like after you give it away to all of the people that have backed the Kickstarter. And then Lamoureux made another comment about, and I'm not trying to shit talk Lamoureux or anything like that, because he makes valid points. He's like, that's $65,000 that they're leaving on the table. That's not a smart business decision. To which I would retort, Facebook gives you their shit for free. They're one of the biggest countries in the world, or biggest companies in the world. It is a valid and viable financial way to run a thing. Give people stuff away, bring them into the fold, kind of a thing, right? Because how many people are not buying it like me? Because or how many people like me would buy it if they were giving me that extra incentive? So, anyways, all that said and done, I just think it's hot garbage. I'm not happy about it. Is really what it boils down to. So.
It's going to do well, and it's going to make a lot of people happy, and that's fine with that too. But a lot of people, it's to me, it's another elf game, man. And we got to know like how many elf games do we need on top of elf games? I don't know. Like that's why I want something. It's because at least when the fantasy companion comes out, you can make a fantasy game. You don't have to make an elf game. You can make a turtle game or a rock game. Like, think about that. It doesn't have to be confined to your Tolkien sort of, traditional sort of fantasy. Expand your mind past the normal realms of fantasy. That's what I'm going to start touting. Well, fantasy doesn't have to be elf.
My next game is not going to be an elf game, so like I'm probably going to play the After or the Last Parsec or something along those lines. But Savage Pathfinder, man, it's doing pretty good. I'm just a little concerned that they're bringing too much Pathfinder into my Savage Worlds when I would rather have it Savage Worlds like it is with just bring the lore in and stuff. Okay, enough poo-poo talk about that. We're going to move on to this other thing here called Dungeon Alchemist. I'm going to kick over to this one and pop it up here. So this is Dungeon Alchemist, Jay. It is an AI-powered map-making software for tabletop RPGs. It says make awesome-looking maps really fast, and you can see the video for this thing here. I'm not going to bother playing it, but essentially what you do is you choose the size of the map you want, and then every time you build a room, you can choose the theme for that room. So if you want to have a tavern, you click the tavern button, you build the room, and you say, okay, this is the main hall, here's a bedroom, and it'll populate the bedroom with beds and lamps and lights and stuff like that. And then when it's all said and done, you have either like a top-down view, or you have like sort of, I don't know it's not, what's the view when you sort of look down over top of it? It's not like a 3D view, but it's like a...
Yeah, they call it isometric view.
Yeah, I think that's what they call it in this one too. But for some reason, I'm thinking OBSO something or other. But it'll print it out in sort of different views and populate everything, and you can basically print a hard copy, like a paper copy, or just print it out so that you can use it directly in your VTTs, which is kind of cool. Like I think this is kind of a fabulous sort of sweet idea. The problem with this software is it's going to pigeonhole you into whatever it is. Like, if you're going to only be able to do elf games with it because it's got taverns and stuff like that. I think right now it's going to be built for fantasy. Maybe they'll put in sci-fi later on. So you're limiting yourself if you just play fantasy like I did for years. Maybe it's not a limit, but for me, if it doesn't do like cyberpunk or space or, you know what I mean? If I can't make a spaceship out of it and stuff like that, it really is kind of a one-trick pony for as cool as I think that it is. They make it look super easy, right? So I just wanted to bring it up. It's something cool. I think it's awesome, but it's not something I'm going to throw my money behind because Unless I could export, it shows it in like a 3D view. I mean, unless I could export that entire thing into Tabletop Simulator and have all my 3D objects, now you're talking, right? That would be actually pretty cool. So, yeah. I've done quite a bit of talking there, Jay. We've been, oh man, I can't believe we've been at this for an hour already.
We should probably move skill challenges to next time.
Sure, let's do that because that's how we roll,
so
right?
We can devote like a bigger chunk of time into it, and I can tell you a little bit more about what we had in mind. But now this is what I wanted to talk about just really quickly. Like, this was brought up to me, and like, I'm not really, and just to be completely honest with you, like, I'm kind of burnt out, like, on just online stuff anyway, just because I work from home. I got my face in front of a computer, like, from, like I said, 8 to 12 hours, sometimes longer. And sometimes I just don't want to do any gaming or anything that I associate fun on a computer. However, though, my buddy Kevin was talking about this, and that old paladin, that old wrinkly old paladin, John Steve, happened to mention
Captain
this.
America.
Yeah, no, I love the guy. It's good to be able to talk to him on a regular basis again too. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, he happened to mention something called this. Now, click on this link here, Gary. This is something called Owlbear. It's got a dumb name, but it's kind of interesting though. It's called Owlbear.rodeo. And what it is, you talk about a lightweight VTT. Boy, this is lightweight as all get out, man. This is all it is. Everything's contained within a web browser. Has, at least from what I understand, has about 600 gigs of personal storage that you can use. And if you just want a map that you just want to show your players and move some tokens around, and this is what you can use to simulate that. And you can use Discord, and you can use a dice bot to roll your dice and everything. But if you just want, friggin' maps in a token, ta-da! This is a solution for here. It's all web based. Now, granted, the one thing about this though, there's not any login sort of situation or whatever, so everything's just sort of stored in your cache, in your browser cache. So if you clear your cache, your shit might get wiped out. But it seems to be pretty easy to navigate and add all that stuff back in. So if you're just looking for something lightweight, like, hey man, here's some tokens, or here's a map and everything, and you can import maps, and it looks like they have a lot of the stuff that's already on board, and so you can do all that. Here you go. This seems like a pretty lightweight solution for you.
Yeah, I pulled it up on the other deal for you. You'll be able to see it when you watch it. But I just imported a map, and I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. Jay, look at this sweet map. This is the town of Flan.
That's the town of Flan?
Yeah, it's actually the town of Flan. But the adventures that I'm playing in ICRPG take place in this town, except I called it New Haven, and I stuffed it in the top of my ICRPG world and stuff like that. So they've done adventures on Thorn Island. Over here, you've got Padal Street and Padal Plaza and stuff like that. This all takes place in DDEX 1. Here's the Valhingen Graveyard and stuff like that. I think you might have been up to the graveyard when you played. I'm not 100% sure. But the actual town of New Haven that you've seen inside Tabletop Simulator, if you look over here where my cursor's going up and down, I added this in with Photoshop and put this little dock in. So this here would be the street that you see when we play and you go into New Haven. You actually are operating just on this street inside the town of Flan. But anyways, I added it to your Owlbear Rodeo thing. I put this map in here.
Bella Muerte was saying, she was saying, like, you can import some of old Zovia's Vase maps, which are, once again, that gets another chef kiss. I love her work. She does a great job. In fact, I need to talk to her again about maybe commissioning something down the road.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll pay her in advance this time so I'll know she'll get it. Maybe I'll just here, Vay, I'm just going to give you the money. Like, go ahead. Here's $100, Vay. Just knock some stuff out.
Are you going to get her to paint you like what's Burt Reynolds, where he was laying on that bearskin rug with his hairy chest?
That's essentially but you won't see that until you zoom all the way out because it's going to be a map
on your belly.
But if you zoom all the way, or wherever, if it's a forest, leave that to your imagination.
Yeah, right. No, I highly support Vay, and I recommend everybody do it too. She makes probably the nicest looking maps, man. She's one of the top map makers, cartographers, whatever you want to call her. So yeah,
I agree. I
I
agree.
know that you can
I've
put some
spent
tokens.
many.
Sorry, Jay.
Yep, you can. Yeah, you can throw some. No, you can throw some tokens on the map. I think you can import those. I like using token stamp. That was always fun to use. So yeah, it looks like you can drag tokens right from the map and move them right there. And see, that's pretty neat if that's all you want to do. And I think I don't know if your other players can manipulate. I think maybe they can't. Yeah, if they join a game, then they can manipulate their own tokens. So that's pretty cool, man. If you want somebody to, if you just need something quick and fast, and you just want to drop a map here, and yeah, it looks like you can draw pictures and look. Oh, look at that map though. Look, so you're drawing a nice little route of how looks like they're going around. Oh, that's a PP. I see. I'm just kidding. I knew that was a PP all along.
It's what I would do. This is why you need to be able to turn these features off.
Yeah, or maybe have players that are a little bit fucking more grown up than you would expect a 50-year-old man to be.
Oh, wow!
Like I don't know.
So mean to me, Jay. So mean to me.
I'm not. Maybe it's out of love. It's out of love. It's out of love because we'll probably be neighbors someday.
Check it out. See what I'm drawing?
Yeah. Oh, so you're drawing little mountains, and that's hey, those are boobies. No, I'm just kidding. I think that's hilarious.
Oh, that's what's going to happen.
Oh no, now that's Homer Simpson. That's awesome. I didn't know you're an artist, man. You quite talented.
Kind of handy with a mouse. Kind of handy with a mouse.
Yep.
The last thing that we are going to talk about then is going to be, if I can get it to come up. Why can I not do?
Is it not Lincoln?
Yeah, for some reason. It doesn't matter. I'll just copy paste it myself. Control C.
Yep.
And I will punch it in over here, and we will go right to this guy. So, did you subscribe to this guy?
Yeah, man. I went ahead and did it since I'm going to go ahead and since I'm going the whole 3D printing route right over here, I might as well knock some stuff out. And so yeah, I went ahead and subscribed to this dude because this is exactly what I was looking for. Monstrous encounters featuring this guy. This guy's doing some designing some 3D minis, man, and that's what I want to get into as far as like printing goes. And so it looks like he's got all kinds. Right now, it looks like he's. Oh, go ahead, bud.
I was going to say these miniatures that he's printed up here, they're very smooth. You don't see any of the lines or striations or any of that kind of stuff on them. Quite detailed. Do you think these are resin printed?
These might be resin printed, but however, though, I do actually see where he's actually got ones that are FLA printed, just like the ones I got over here. But like I said, I got two printers. I got a resin printer and I got one of these too. So, if they're going to be, if these ones look smooth and you don't see that striations on them, then hey, I'll resin print the heck out of them. And just like in the little banner that we see here in just what the guy's got, he's got monstrous encounters and galactic encounters. Looks like right now he's got a sci-fi focus on some stuff. If you look over here to the left, it looks like we got some space cowboys and we got what I would call a mystical knight, but we all know it's a damn Jedi. Let's be real here. And he looks like he's got some monsters. And over to the right here, it's monstrous encounters where he's got it looks like we got a nice we got a paladin and we got a dude in big heavy death armor and everything, and we got some liches and we got some skeletons over here. So it looks like all your bases are covered here as far as figures go. So yeah, I subscribed to the guy. He's got two tiers. We got the $10 tier, but I went ahead and subscribed to the $25 tier, which is sort of like the digital merchant sort of thing. So like you can actually print some of these, and actually you're allowed to sell them. I think at that point too. If you wanted to, you can print his own. With the digital merchant, that sort of tier. So you can take this stuff and you can print it out. So this is something I wanted to take a look at. It looks pretty neat. And so I'm gonna what I'll do is I'll go ahead and print out some of these and see how it all turns out.
Man, I can't wait to get my first miniature package in the mail.
Yeah, man. Since you sent me all these flat ones, I'm going to go ahead and send you. I'm going to send you a bunch of these, I'm going to send you a handful of. In fact, I'll send you'll have to paint one though.
I kind of made those.
Whatever I send you, you'll have to paint them.
I send you all those flat.
Oh yeah,
they're just fire starter now.
They're going to my cousin. Right. Oh no, I'll give them to my nephew or something. But I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna get rid of them. I'm not gonna burn them or anything like that. I'll give them to a good home, like you do your old dog.
Right.
When you get tired of it.
Right. That's where I'm going to give my.
Don't do that to your animals. Your animals, keep your animals. They're forever.
Wow, yeah. That was a little stiff, dude.
Right. Keep your animals.
A little stiff. All right, back to the normal show. So I guess we're going to have to change this to things we like but hate.
That's funny.
Right?
Yes,
Some stuff we like, some stuff we dislike.
Yep.
And then we'll put a pin in that sucker because it's been it's been an hour. So we like to keep our shows out. So I guess we're going to do skill challenges next time, which doesn't really matter if we don't talk about it because I'll just change the show title. It'll be something else.
That works for me. And we'll make it up as we go along. It's not like this thing is, not like we got somebody, outside helping this out.
Right. I'm going to click
me
a
and
couple
you,
of buttons over here. I'm going to smash this button. All right. That is it for this edition of the Murder Hobo RPG Show. We hope you enjoyed it. And now that it's 2021, we started caring a little. Get your vaccinations, you conspiracy theorist freaks, so we can start conventions in person again. Right, Jay?
Yep, your Uncle J Raz is vaccinated. Go get your vaccine. Go get out there, get the vaccine so we can all play together in person again. Jesus Christ, I miss that. As much as I'm an introvert, miss being able to play with other people. Let's do that. And speaking of which, if you're interested in submitting 2 community questions, so you can hear us poke fun at you and otherwise not answer your questions honestly, you can do so at murderhoboshow@gmail.com. Otherwise, send your hate mail to the Gary Eugene Wendell McCallum. I hope you heard that. Your full goddamn name. Because I heard what you said about me last week. You said send your hate mail to Uncle J Raz. I flipped the script on you. Your whole friggin' name, pal. I'm on to you.
Wow. You did some digging to get there. Oh, man.
No, you told me about it a long time ago, and I remember shit like that.
I see how it is. You can also get us on Twitter at The Murder Hobo Show or on YouTube at The Murder Hobo Show, where I show you how to make 3-dimensional battle maps for role-playing in Tabletop Simulator, among other stuff. You can watch me do this live sometimes. It's been a while since I've done it at Twitch, but I got the week off. Maybe I'll throw one up tomorrow. Who knows? On Twitch, we're here at The Murder Hobo Show. There isn't a set time for this. It's kind of random. I just sort of do it because I'm a busy man. I got kids and jobs and stuff like that. So yeah, you get what you get, suckers. Take it or leave it. This is the part of the show where we ask you to check out some of our content creating fellow network members. And today we're going to get you to take a look at Rob Toohey. Rob Toohey has a Twitch channel. I'll put a link in the description and stuff like that. Actually, I could probably find him on the old Twitch. And then I could click on this thing over here. And then, because I follow Rob Toohey, he's probably even broadcasting right now, so I got to make sure that I mute his channel. But yeah, he's an old comedian guy. He's pretty funny. Cracks me up. He does D&D, nothing but. And he creates a lot of things for Fantasy Grounds. So a lot of the stuff like modules and whatnot, he builds them and puts them on the Fantasy Grounds store, the Smiteworks store. And every Tuesday I think you could show up, Jay. If you want to show up one day, me and you should get on there on a Tuesday night, and then we'll go play some D&D. Now,
that'll work.
We don't play D&D that much.
Not really.
So yeah.
Not anymore. We did before.
Read the blue part.
Sure, man. You can find the things we discussed in the show notes, organized, most recent at the top, over at murderhoboshow.podbeam.com.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Be sure to tune in next time. We're going to have another action-packed show where we shit talk more of our friends and talk about things we know little to nothing about. Sound professional doing it. Have a great weekend. Gaming week. We're out of here. Say goodbye, Uncle Jay.
You say goodbye, Gary, and then I'll say goodbye. You say goodbye first.
I did say goodbye. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Wow. The Murder Hobo RPG Show is not affiliated with or endorsed by any companies mentioned on this show. Any of the products mentioned on our show or that appear on our website are the property and copyright of the respected owners. All items are used under fair use for educational and review purposes. All other items are the intellectual property of the Murder Hobo RPG Show, copyright 2021, all rights reserved.